Call to order the Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, June 18th, 2025. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Platzner, please call the roll.
Here. Commissioner No.
Here.
Commissioner Tremmel.
Here.
Commissioner Casey.
Here.
Commissioner Schmolke.
Here.
Commissioner Ronyak.
Here.
Chair Schwartz.
Here. Thank you. All right, our first order of business this evening is to adopt our agenda.
Chair Schwartz,
Commissioner Knobloch,
I move that we adopt the agenda for tonight.
Second. Go ahead.
motion by Knobloch, second by Knoll. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the agenda is adopted. Next, we have the approval of the minutes of our March 20th, 2025 meeting.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Casey.
I would move approval of the minutes from that March 20th, 2025 meeting.
I'll second.
Motion by Casey, second by Schmolke. Any corrections, additions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes are approved. All right, our case for this evening is planning case 25-7, a lot split and subdivision variance at 851 84th Lane Northwest, Anissa, Cravens. Mr. Platt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Commission. So I have before you tonight a request for a lot split and a subdivision variance for a single-family residential home at 851 84th Lane Northwest. This is within the LDR1 zoning district, so low-density residential district with slightly stricter lot and setback standards than the standard LDR2 district. The LDR1 district requires 15-foot side setbacks for a home, 40-foot front setbacks, and 50-foot rear setbacks. So it generally looks for larger lots than the LDR2 zoning district, which is the district that most single-family homes are in within the city. So this is a request for the property on 84th Lane. It's down off East River Road, near Adams Elementary, on the south side of the city. And this is an owner that has an acre, just over an acre of property, and wants to split it into two. And the stated goal of the owner of the home, which is on the south end of the property, is to split the property into two and have a second lot on the north end of the property and build a home. And the goal would be for the one family member to live in the existing home and one family member to live in the new home. So initially, the goal would be to have it be two lots, which are both occupied by family members. The applicant is requesting to split the lot as would be required to build a second home. And a second home would require a new lot. So the zoning standards for the LDR1 district do require at least 20 feet of street frontage for any new lot, and at least 15,000 square feet of area for the lot, and at least 100 feet of width for the new lot. The proposed lot, staff did determine, meets all of the LDR1 lot standards except the width requirement. The proposed lot would be 81 feet in width as measured at the front setback line. The way staff are determining how that width would be measured, and actually I'm going to move forward just a little bit so I can explain this before going back to the lot survey. How staff have determined that the width of the lot should be measured is at the required front setback rather than the front setback of an existing home or of the proposed home, and rather than anywhere else on the lot. This is because the city does not have the ability to require any changes in the lot at the time of building permit request. If a person applies for a building permit to build a home and that home meets all of the setbacks and all their requirements, the city does not have the ability to deny that building permit. Thus, one would not use the setback of the proposed building to determine the lot width because that proposed building location could change between the approval of the lot split and the construction of the home. So instead, it follows that the lot width needs to be measured at the required setback, which in this case is 40 feet. So this is a wedge-shaped lot. meaning that as you get further back from the street, the lot gets wider. The lot is well over the 15,000 square feet required in the LDR1 district. However, at the 40-foot setback, it's only 81 feet in width. So the applicant is requesting a variance to allow the lot to be created, even though it's only 81 feet in width, which is less than the 100 feet required. I have here the lot survey that was submitted by the applicant, showing the proposed new lot line and the location of the proposed new home. So this shows the buildable area, which is a little bit difficult to see here, but it is this sort of wedge shape within the lot, and then the proposed footprint of the new home. The location, size, style, et cetera, of the home is not directly relevant to what's being requested here. The home will need to meet LDR1 zoning district standards. The request right now is only for the variance to the lot width and for the lot split itself. So the two lots that would be created would both be around the same size as each other. This property would be divided just about in half. We'd have the existing home on parcel A, which is about 21,000 square feet, and the proposed new home on parcel B, which is about 22,000 square feet. There were some questions that were posed to me from neighbors who were interested in coming to the meeting and did provide comments about how the front, side, and rear lot lines were determined for the proposed Lot A. So I did include a diagram showing how that was determined. The front of the home does face generally south or southwest. So staff did determine that the front lot line would be the lot line along 84th Lane. Not exactly the bulb of the cul-de-sac, but along the lane kind of to the southeast of that. The side lot lines would be the two lines going north and northeast toward the rear, and then the rear lot line would essentially be a point. And this is common in wedge-shaped lots on the interior curve of roads where there's a lot of lot frontage, but the rear yard becomes a point. And the way that the rear lot line is measured when the rear yard becomes a point is that a line is drawn 10 feet out from that point parallel to the front lot line. So the rear setback for the proposed home on parcel A would be based on that measurement. So based on a line 10 feet back from the point where the rear lot line is. Otherwise, the proposed lots, both Lot A and Lot B, do meet all of the required all of the lot requirements, and the existing home on Lot A does meet all of the setback requirements. And I can go over that in more detail if anyone would like, with the exception of the requested lot width variance. So in regard to the variance, I did do a little bit of research on the surrounding neighborhood to see if what was being proposed would generally be out of harmony with the surrounding neighborhood, and found that generally what is being proposed, Lot B, would be similar in size, shape, and home location to many other lots in the surrounding neighborhood. So you do have 84th Lane here with the cul-de-sac, and then to the north you have 85th Avenue, which doesn't directly connect to 84th Lane. You do have to go down and around, but many of these lots are directly adjacent to lots on 84th Lane. And so I did circle and draw some lines on other lots that have similar dimensions or are similarly substandard based on the LDR1 districts. So the red circles I included are around lots that are smaller than the required 15,000 square feet. So there are a couple of those, or close to or smaller than the required 15,000 square feet. There are a couple of those existing. And then I did draw yellow lines at the 40-foot setback, and it might be a little bit hard to see, on a couple of lots that at the 40-foot setback had lot widths that were less than the required 100 feet. So this lot would not be the only one with a few elements that are not conforming to the LDR1 district in the neighborhood. And especially along 85th Avenue to the north, the size and shape of the lot would fit in well and would be larger actually than some of the lots that exist. And I did also look and gather the area width and depth as best as I could based on my understanding of where these front and rear lot lines would be for all of the lots surrounding. And this is another item. I did print this off and provide it to the Planning Commission in case they'd like to get a closer look. It's on one of the pages. I know there's a lot that you guys have in front of you right now. And I could go over this in more detail, but you do have many lots that would be generally within the same range as the size of the proposed lot. Some of them smaller, some of them narrower, but generally around the same. Lastly, I did include brief explanations of the proposed recommended findings that staff provided for the variance request. So in order to approve a subdivision variance, the Planning Commission and City Council have to find that it meets the general intent of the section of the zoning code, that there will be no detriment to public safety, that what's being proposed constitutes a unique circumstance, a reasonable use, and that the unique circumstance is not created by the actions of the applicant, and then lastly, that there is an unusual or unique hardship or practical difficulty. The word hardship is used in the city code, however, generally variances, at least by state statute, use the term practical difficulty. There is a little bit of a difference in how that term is interpreted, but for the purposes tonight, we'll just refer to either of those terms. Generally, staff do find that what's being proposed does meet the requirements for a variance, and I'd be happy to go over those in detail on request, but I don't want to take up too much time with my presentation. So staff are recommending approval of the requested subdivision variance as well as the proposed lot split with a couple of conditions, one of which that new drainage and utility easements be dedicated along the new lot line. And another is related to the MRCCA or MRCA. It's the Mississippi River area. This lot is within the MRCA, however, it's separated from the river, thus most of the river-oriented standards in the MRCA don't apply to this. However, the applicant would need to receive a vegetation permit approved by the city in order to remove vegetation on the property within the significant vegetation zone. And this is something that would apply to the property, for anything being done within essentially the wooded area on the north and west of the property, not including the tree right in the middle of the proposed parcel 2. The proposed new lot, the buildable area of that lot is completely without it's not within, none of it is within, the significant existing vegetation stand. So there's very low likelihood that any construction of a home on the property would require a vegetation permit or require any removal of vegetation on the property. However, if that were to occur, staff would need to approve a permit to do that. So that's all I have in terms of a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Platzner. Commission, any questions for Mr. Platzner?
Yes. Go back to the, where you show the site plan. Yeah. Now that, yeah, you have it right there. Actually, what you're showing there is the minimum size of the house, correct? Needed to be, to meet the standards.
Commissioner Roniak, this is possibly it's larger than the minimum size of the home. It's not smaller than the minimum size allowed in the LDR1 district, but I didn't actually take a look at this to see if it was exactly the minimum size. I believe it is larger than the minimum size that's
Right.
allowed in the district.
So, but that house actually could be larger than what you described, still fitting within the guidelines.
Correct.
And there's one corner that is hitting the vegetation. I assume that line that goes along the back, right corner, is that a vegetation line?
Commissioner Roniak, it is not. That line has a different meaning. I think that's just an elevation contour.
Elevation.
Oh, that's just elevation.
Yeah, the vegetation line is further back. It's, I believe, about 15 to 20 feet from the lot line that stops on the
In
west
looking
or
at
the
this
east side.
lot, a couple of times I've been out there this week, the vegetation is expansive. There's a lot of it there. And I was just checking to make sure that the site for the building would fit without having to tear down vegetation.
Absolutely, yes. The building, there would be able to be a home built on the lot without encroaching into the
Thank you.
significant vegetation line.
Anyone else with questions for Mr. Platzner at this time?
Chairman Schwartz. Mr. Platchner, I'm wondering again about the facing of the building. It's the lot lines that are the front and back. It's not relative to the building itself, to the house that's there. Is that correct?
Commissioner Tremmel, the home is, it's facing both south and southwest. The front door of the home faces southwest, whereas the garage door and the driveway are to the south. Generally, the home does not face directly west, but the home isn't set completely oriented to the existing lot lines, so there could be some interpretation of which lot line would be the front and which lot line would be the rear. It's kind of a situation where there are some elements in code that would allow someone to pick which lot line would be their front and which lot line would be their side if they have right-of-way on both the front and the side. This isn't quite within that category, but I think there could be an argument for either the west or the south lot line being the front lot line. However, it makes the most sense for it to be the southwest line on this case.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Does the petitioner wish present, and do they wish to make any kind of a comment?
Would the petitioner like to come up and make a comment?
No.
No, okay.
All right. All right, we do need a public hearing on this matter, so at this time, I will open a public hearing in planning case 25-7, the lot split and subdivision variance at 851 84th Lane Northwest. Anyone wish to speak to the public hearing? Please come to the microphone, give your name and address for the record. Limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Hi, thank you for having me today. My name is Jody Kane. I live in the adjoining property to the proposal 861 84th Lane Northwest, Coon Rapids. I have submitted formal opposition documents, which I hope you all have had a chance to review. So I've covered absolutely everything I could think of. I'm sorry, I'm not sure which microphone I'm using here. Thanks. So I think I've covered, the majority of all of our concerns in there. Specifically, they are actually trying to squeeze in a house and creating two small lots out of one big lot. Or the lot that's there is currently consistent with the rest of us in the neighborhood. Not the houses beyond and behind us. We have our direct cul-de-sac and Redwood Street coming straight down. All of those lots are consistently large, especially ours right in the cul-de-sac. The proposed house the side of the house has a window that's facing our lot. It becomes very intrusive on our privacy. We have big concerns about that. The current house, the existing house, there's only like 15 feet, the very minimum, squeezed in at that center lot line, and there will be virtually no backyard for that house. I'm sure that will impact sellability, and we're very concerned with the values of our current houses in the property as well. Lots of concerns around, additional traffic, taking away space from the cul-de-sac that is currently used for snow plowing in the winter. That's where the snow gets plowed right now. The kids play in that cul-de-sac. We have 4 children who live in the cul-de-sac, 2 in our house, my grandkids, and my next door neighbors, and they play together. We're concerned about safety with additional traffic, delivery trucks, company, things like that. And also that space we use for overflow parking. All of us and the neighbors in the cul-de-sac use that space for overflow parking. That will take that away as well. And then, and they try to say that this isn't, people tell me don't get personal about it, but it's been very personal. And as far as our house is our sanctuary, we were just saying last March, my husband and I, we were talking and we were saying how, well, all these things that have been going icky, things happen to people, but at least we have this nice, beautiful space, our home, our yard. We spend a lot of time sitting out in front of our house. We enjoy the nature and the up north feel of our neighborhood, and we cherish that. And we feel like this would be a major intrusion on our privacy. And as far as the intent, I feel like a lot of things within the comprehensive plan and as well as all of the criteria, I respectfully disagree with the planning and zoning recommendation. I feel, and I think I've spelled that out well too, without going into all of it, that this proposal doesn't meet any of the criteria that the city has, established, and that the statutes oh my gosh, that the statutes state. Need to make sure I did put an existing precedent, or a precedent from 2017 from an Andover case. It was very similar to this proposed case, and it was denied, and it was a similar setback request, and the similar situation, the changes to the neighborhood, the privacy issues, the close proximity, now squishing houses together. It's totally gonna change the look, feel, and privacy of our entire cul-de-sac, and it's directly gonna impact our household more than anyone. And then another great concern is that our existing lot line that would, be adjoining this new lot is, we don't have much space. We only have 15 feet on that side of our house. And if that's becoming an easement now, and there's a house right there on the other side of the line, I think that's going to have some greater impacts on us as well that we haven't even really realized yet. So, in conclusion, I respectfully ask that you deny this request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak to the public hearing?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Meyer. I'm from Andover, 2774 167th Lane. I'm a licensed realtor, licensed contractor. I'm friends of Brad and Jody. When this came up, she asked me to address a value item. Can I find a loss of value? When I looked at the plan, I said, absolutely, you're losing value. I started trying to find comps, and while the gentleman showed different comparable lots, I couldn't find any comps anywhere where you had an established cul-de-sac with homes set farther back, and 30 years later, somebody drops one out near the road. Since I couldn't find anything like that, I'm kind of left with a guess. Now, it's an educated guess. I feel like I know what I'm doing in this business. I've shown a lot of homes. I know what people look for and what they like. The best I could do was stand in the cul-de-sac, look at their beautiful home, and then try to envision, you have this nice house set back, this one's set back, and all of a sudden, here's one right out here. I know enough about curb appeal where this is going to do a lot of damage. My best guess was, I thought it'd be $40,000 to $50,000 off the sale price of their home. When people don't like the curb appeal, they go negative. A lot of people won't even want to go look. And when I do get them inside, they immediately find other things wrong with the house. Very seldom do they go positive once they get in. And I also think that the way this house is situated, they're going to lose a lot of privacy, and I think they're going to suffer greatly for their loss of value, loss of privacy, and what we call quiet enjoyment of their home. I would ask you guys, if this was next door to you, would you vote for it? Any questions for me?
No?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
Commissioners, hello. My name is Brad Kane. I live at 861 84th Lane. I'm Jody Kane's husband. I've lived in Coon Rapids most of my life. I'm a graduate. I actually grew up off 86th Lane, 2 blocks down from where I live now. And all of our houses had sizable lots. The wildlife in our neighborhood's absolutely amazing. I have fawns that sleep in my front yard that we find in the morning. I'm afraid this will change everything. My wife and I searched so hard for this house, and we found it. And we actually won the front door program. We've been remodeling. We bought it from Jerry Wright, who built it in 1969. And we've come a long ways, and this kind of got thrown at us all of a sudden. So I just ask you reconsider. And we like our neighborhood as it is. And thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak?
My name is Anissa Cravens. I'm the one here requesting the lot split. And I have lived in that residence since the 70s. Grew up and went to Adams Elementary, Coon Rapids Middle School, Coon Rapids High School. I'm actually a principal in the district of Anoka Hennepin. My parents still live there. And I know Jerry Wright, the one that lived next to me for a long time. And we would be willing to work with the city and our developer to look at the plans to help support some of the concerns that the neighbors have. I know that this lot has been considered for years to be able to be split. I feel it's a reasonable request. I look at where our house would be located. My mother lives next door. I feel that there would be adequate privacy and space between our house and the neighbors, but again, would be willing to work with the builders and the city to look at the spatial positioning of the house to help support some of the neighbors' concerns. But as far as our understanding and the research we've done, it looks like it meets the requirements to be able to do this adequately. So, thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to the public hearing?
Hello, thanks for having me. My name is Sarah Earhart. I live at 870 84th Lane. I am one of the 5 that share this cul-de-sac, and I am opposed to the lot being split. I think it's going to affect us greatly, and I think it's going to affect the privacy, the beautiful view. You guys talked about the vegetation line there. That's my direct view right now. That house will obstruct it. It will no longer be there. I will be looking at a huge house right outside of our garage, where we also spend a lot of time outside. I have 2 small children. One of them is here, and like Jody mentioned, they're outside playing all the time. And I'm concerned about their safety for the traffic. It's gonna affect us. And we moved from Minneapolis, a small little house right by Riverview Theater, Minnehaha Falls, and we wanted the space. We liked the lot size, the lot, the shape of the lot, it was irregular, something you don't find. And we wanted space, we didn't want congestion, all of which I feel like are gonna be taking that away. So I appreciate your time. I hope you take it into consideration, because there's one person here that wants the lot split, and there are 4 others that don't, or at least 2. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to the public hearing?
Hello, I'm Daniel Kelly. I'm representing my dad, Daniel Kelly, at 8492 East River Road. We're actually, kitty corner, back on the vegetation side at the top of the hill. I suppose the only hang-up that we have up there is that, again, it goes back to the view and then the wildlife. We have, we've counted 15 to 25 deer on any given night. There's at least 10 or so fox that live in the area as well. So I think the biggest concern that my family has is that, well, one, it was inevitable for, the bottom of the hill as a whole to have, houses built in the cul-de-sac as it is. But I suppose having another roof to look at instead of trees, or, not saying that you're cutting all the trees down, but, depending on where it's located, taking more of the, like they say, more of the view away, and then just disrupting the nature is the biggest setback that we'd have with my family. Seeing as we've been there, goes back all the way to my grandparents back in the early 50s, so that's we've just been kind of rolling with the changes, but it's been going good so far. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak at the public hearing? Final call for the public hearing. Public hearing is closed, limit comments to the commission. Commission, what are your thoughts?
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Schmolke?
Actually, question to Mr. Platzner. So when you were presenting, there's one thing that you mentioned about the nonconformity of existing lots, right? That you can go around and you can see there's others that have the smaller, widths, et cetera. So I was just curious, it's like, at what point did we set the requirement of 100 feet to begin with? With so many homes that don't meet that today, when did this occur, and was there a particular reason why?
Thank you, Commissioner Schmolke. The standards were set, I believe, in the 1960s, and this plat would have been, the plat for the cul-de-sac would have been completed, I'm pulling it up now to get the exact year, but I believe it was 1949. So this was platted before the existing LDR1 standards, which is really the explanation for why many of the lots are irregular and don't conform to the LDR1 standards, 1947.
Okay, and we set the 100-foot for a particular reason? Was it just intended to be a light guideline, or is it, maybe you could just explain that a little bit more?
The reason for the 100-foot width, so this would be as opposed to the 80-foot width, which was required in the LDR2 district, the reason for the 100-foot width is just to establish that the lots in the LDR1 district are larger and generally have more open space than the LDR2 district. So when those two districts were set up and differentiated, which I believe was in the 1960s, this district was set aside generally for more open space, larger lots, bigger setbacks and things like that. And the 100-foot lot width was just considered to be part of ensuring that you weren't trying to essentially put more lots in this district than the density of the district called for.
And in this cul-de-sac, apologies, this will be my last question. In this cul-de-sac, do the other homes, lots, do they conform to the 100-foot, or are they all non-conforming?
Commissioner Schmolke, some of the lots are conforming. Many of them do expand out to be almost exactly 100 feet. So it's clear that the 100 feet was either a rule or a standard at the time that it was platted, but most are not 100 feet at the 40-foot setback, which is how this lot is being measured. The proposed two new lots, both also eventually widen out to 100 feet or more.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Casey?
So another question for you, Mr. Patzner. So these 5 lots around this cul-de-sac were platted in 1947, is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Were they platted to be that 61-foot width, 77-foot width that I see existing there? 2 are 100, 2 are less than that. Were they platted that way?
Commissioner Casey, the lot width may have been measured differently back then, and despite looking into it to try and find out if the standards were measured the same way back in the 40s, I have no indication of whether they used a different standard for where to measure that width.
But these 2 that are below 100 were not lot splits recently?
No, they were not.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Knoll?
I'm just thinking the LDR1 district, it's gonna be tough to get lots into a cul-de-sac that are gonna be the 100-foot, as they pie out. And as you look to the LDR district just to the north, that the houses were built between 88 and 95, I think, other than the one that looks like the homestead in 51. That was platted late 80s, I would imagine, before those homes were built. And if you go to the end of that cul-de-sac, you have one, I think, with a 22-foot width, if I'm reading that right, or 46, I'm sorry, I was looking up in front of that. So I just would think it's difficult to have a cul-de-sac in LDR1 without some of those exceptions. That's my only point.
Mr. Platzner, in some of the writings that we received, the comments, there was reference to a discrepancy with the survey Well, one having a lot line being off, could you address that at all?
Thank you, Commissioner Schwartz. The surveyor, I do believe, is here tonight and may be able to fill in some of the info that I don't have. But my best understanding is that when the initial survey was done for the lot split, the surveyor did not have access to a survey that was done for the lot just to the west, 861 84th Lane, that was done in 1993. So he was basing the survey off of what he thought was the most recent survey, which was earlier than that. Upon receiving the 1993 survey, he did revise the location of the lot line between the proposed Lot B, so the new lot that does not have a home on it, and the lot to the west. The owner of the lot to the west, I believe, submitted that comment and noted that there was a discrepancy between the lot survey that she had gotten done in 1993 and the lot survey that was provided as part of this application. In terms of addressing that discrepancy, it may be best to have the surveyor speak on that if he's willing to, but my best understanding is that generally a lot surveyor does the best they can to find the exact location of the lot line with the information that they have. So the fact that they did revise that survey when they received new information, that does seem to be standard surveying practice as far as I have observed in the past. However, the lot survey that they provided is the most recent survey based on the information they have, and thus is the lot survey that we would use to determine any lot line locations.
All right, thank you. The surveyor is here. Are you willing to speak? Come to the microphone, please. Identify yourself.
I'm Richard Thompson. I work with Bogart Pearson. We're the surveyors for the people who are wishing to do the split. The neighbors called me and said that they had a survey that I did not have. Basically, the survey that they gave me was the pre-RLS split. So when they did the RLS survey for the neighbor, when the neighbor's lot 6 was split into 3 different tracts of land, because this is all Torrance property, they did a pre-RLS survey, kind of like what this might end up being. And it showed distances from their house to the lot line for when the surveyor did the split back in 1993. So when I got that information, I didn't exactly just hop out and then just change the survey necessarily. We sent a crew back out there and found more irons for the RLS in the field. And those led to 2 different kind of conclusions for that north line. So for the north line, this area has been known to have kind of messy surveys back a lot. And I actually called the Anoka County surveyor, David Ziegelmeyer, on this as well. And he kind of said kind of to use your best judgment on it. So after looking at that pre-survey for the RLS, and then looking at the found irons that we found for the RLS, there is some give and take, being this was done in 1993, and the RLS was done in 1984, I think, but this plat was done in 1947. So we're taking information from 60, 70 years ago and trying to mesh it with something that was done 50 years later. And from what I found was when they redid the RLS, they didn't expand their search out far enough. So they took what they found and kind of meshed it into an area, and that was the best representation for that line at that moment in time. So I tried to conform what I was doing with what they did. So I kind of changed my line about 1.5 feet or so.
So your line, did it move east or did it move west?
So it would be the northwest corner of our lot 5 moved about 1.5-ish feet east. So it would have been more on our property. So I have distances to their garage as we measure today, which conform to what her survey has from 1993 now. So there is nothing encroaching upon her property or their property.
All right, thank you. Planning Commission, anyone else with comments?
I got a comment here.
Mr. Runyak?
I think we're confronted with the typical situation where people have lived with an existing situation and now people want to change it. First of all, according to Max, that whatever they're doing is legal. There really is no legal objection to it other than the fact that the people that live around it have been used to this situation. Now, I've been out there 2 or 3 times. I've walked the area. I've looked at a lot of the structures that are out there. One of them is an antebellum house with pillars. You take the 2 houses, then we drive into 84th Lane on the right, and they're jammed lot to lot. They're small houses. And you're looking at a situation like this. Now, the lady that spoke about her house being where people can look into it, that house was built exactly on the setback. So at that time, when they built that house, figured that they understood that maybe that lot's going to stay open, and you're going to have all that nice open area there. Well, the choice to build it there, with the size of that lot was there, has put us in a situation now where there could be some conflict visually. As a general contractor and a licensed contractor, decisions are made at the time. Now, this house here, with the way it is, I'm sure that the architect or anybody that does this is going to come up with a reasonable structure that'll be acceptable. When you're on a cul-de-sac, you are dealt with the pie-shaped lots, and I think that because the thing is we have no objections legally, we have to allow the owner of the property to develop the way they want to, as long as it doesn't infringe legally on the neighbors. Now, chances are, I don't think this person is going to be invited to lock parties, but I don't see how we can deny it.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Tremmel?
I'm just curious about looking at, I know we're looking at a greater area here, the cul-de-sac to the north as well, but the 3 houses that are in the, can I call it the cul-de-sac bulb? And the setback from the edge of that itself, the proposed house would be significantly closer to the street, right? And I guess I'm curious about how that would change the look of it as you're coming into the cul-de-sac itself. That's my thought.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Schmolke?
I guess I have to agree on the recommendation for approval by staff, just because, again, everything, the requirements are all being met. We're not being asked the question of likability, to approve this. We're being asked to review the facts of what the requirements are and is this meeting it? And the only thing we're being asked to consider is that 80-foot versus the 100-foot. And I guess if there's no concerns about that variance, then everything else seems to check the boxes, and I don't see why this wouldn't be approved.
Chair Schwartz.
Commissioner Knobloch?
I agree with Commissioner Schmolke and Commissioner Runyak. Although it's a little tense and difficult for the neighborhood, it is a very reasonable request for a variance. I think the greater challenge and the greater effort that will be put forward is, if this were to be approved, the next step would be, once a plan is brought before the Planning Commission, that's where the true, in my opinion, the true work and effort will be required to fit in a house into this irregular lot, if approved. So I think the real work is yet to come yet, even though the decision before us today is the approval of the variance. So that's just my opinion that I wanted to put forward for everyone, so.
Chair Schwartz, maybe a comment?
Mr. Platzner?
I just want to clarify that the building plan for the home itself will not come before the planning commission. That's something that only needs administrative approval by city staff.
Okay.
That was gonna be my question to you. Thank you. You read my mind.
Chair Schwartz,
Commissioner No.
I'd like to make a motion in plan case 25-7 that we recommend approval of the requested subdivision and proposed lot split subject to the conditions as outlined in our packet.
I'll second.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Bucciapone?
just looking for a little clarification, Commissioner. No, are you moving each separately, or are you doing it as?
I'm moving together because the cases were the same, so.
That's good.
And I'm doing the same.
So the motion is by Commissioner No, and the second is by Commissioner Schmolke, and that's for both the lot split and for the variance.
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that motion carries. This is a recommendation by the planning commission and will be heard at city council on July 1st. Thank you to all the citizens that spoke, and good luck. Moving on to other business, Mr. Platzner.
Thank you, Chair Schwartz, members of the Planning Commission. So we have no more items for the regular Planning Commission meeting tonight. We will have a work session after the meeting. I do want to go over just some recent development updates quickly before moving into the work session, but we'll go over that, and then we'll have some items in the conference room 1 after the meeting. But just real quick, going over some of the recent developments, especially since there hasn't been a Planning Commission meeting in a minute. Some of the projects that are and aren't yet moving forward. So we do have Holly Street Industrial, which is the industrial spec building that was approved for Holly Street and Springbrook Drive. The grading and site work has commenced for that project. They have all their utilities in, so that is beginning construction. The University Avenue rental townhomes, they are working on getting their building permits completed. This is the 34-unit townhome development. They are just about good to go to begin grading on that site. So that project will begin this summer, and hopefully they'll begin working on site improvements in mid to late July. Coon Creek Commons project that did get approved. The applicant is not the developer for this project, so we've always known that they were going to sell the property and the project essentially to a developer. They're still shopping around for a developer to buy and complete this project. So far, no motion has been, or no forward motion has really been made on that, but it is very unlikely that this project would begin the building permit process this year. I think it's much more likely for that to begin in 2026. The Tronson Reserve project, which was approved in the summer of last year, they are holding off for a little while on going forward with this project, which is consistent sort of with what occurred with this property in previous years. So they still intend to go forward on this property, but it is not likely to be in 2025. And then the old BP gas station strip mall project that was approved all the way back in 2023, they are just about done with building permit approval, and I believe they have their demolition permits almost approved as well. So work will begin on the old BP site shortly, hopefully by early to mid-July as well. That's all I have for development updates, so thank you very much.
Question for you on the Coon Creek development that you say they're looking to sell the property.
Correct. So the applicant is the owner of the property, but they will not be the developer of the property. So they brought the property through the entitlement process. And now that there are approvals on the property for what they were proposing, they're looking for someone to buy the property from them and then essentially finance the development of what was approved. So there wouldn't be any changes made to the approvals themselves or to what's going on there. The applicant was always upfront with the fact that they would not end up being the ultimate developer of the property, just that they were bringing it through the entitlement process.
So the new buyers would be held to the plans that
Absolutely,
we
they would.
already have?
Yes.
They couldn't come in and say, we want to change things?
Well, they could always come in and ask for a revision to the site plan approval, but it would essentially be beginning the process over for them. So that, it's possible that they would try and do that, but they don't have, what they have approval for is what they're able to do. They wouldn't be able to make major changes to that without going through the approval process again.
All right, thank you. And for next month,
I have a question to Max.
go ahead.
You had mentioned a couple of meetings ago in regards to the activity over at this condominium, the apartments over here or townhouses over on on Robinson Drive. I've noticed some activity now. Is that going to come forward with
Commissioner Roniak, they do have building permit approval for the second building on that property. So they have the first one already constructed. They should be beginning work on the second building if they're not already doing so. And they have not yet come forward for the third building. So they probably are doing site work, preparing the site for the second building on that property.
And for next month, what on schedule?
So we do have a PUD request for Costco at Main Street and River Rapids Boulevard, where Costco wants to move the pumps of their gas station from the north end of their property down to where the TGI Fridays currently is. They want to purchase the TGI Fridays property and move their gas pumps to that site and then expand their gas pumps. We currently do not allow a gas station as a permitted use in the regional shopping district. So essentially, they have no right to have gas pumps there at all. The only way that they would be able to move the gas pumps is if they had the right to build new, it would essentially be removing the existing ones and building new gas pumps. And staff determined that the best way to do that, if they wanted to get approval for that, would be through a PUD request. So they're requesting a PUD basically to keep the same exact standards on their lot that exist currently, but add gas pumps as an approved or as a permitted use so that they can move their pumps. It's kind of a complicated project, and it would result in gas pumps right at the corner of Main Street and River Rapids Drive. So staff are working with the applicant to kind of figure out exactly how they want to do that, and we'll have that for you in July.
And that's all you have?
That's the only major item. I don't think there will be anything else.
All right, thank you. Does the commission have anything for other business?
I would move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Casey, second by Schmolke. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.